Hello everyone that's watching this. I wanted to make a little video, and forgive me if I sound a little stopped up. Still dealing with a little bit of congestion stuff that's been messing with me forever, it seems like. But I wanted to make a little video and post this on here, not to try to get anyone to start arguing, not to cause conflict with people. That's not my intentions. Never is. It seems like I have a knack with bringing that out with people online, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe it's because I'm blunt. Maybe it's because I'm straightforward, and I do not tend to stray here and there when I'm referring to a specific point. I stay online. Now, a lot of you watching this will probably say, well, I've seen plenty of times where you diverted the topic. And more than likely, the reason that is because, let's face it, a lot of times I'll put up a post and it'll start off nice and clean. And what I mean by clean, I'm not necessarily referring to not cussing and all that type of thing. What I'm saying is it's people are just, answering. Whatever the question may be. It might be, okay, what is your favorite type of fruit? And you'll have apple, you'll have banana, you'll have watermelon, you'll have strawberries, and then all of a sudden you'll have somebody come along and say, well, what's it matter about fruit? Why are we talking about fruit? Blah, 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 blah. And, and then it just, it just goes haywire. It goes all over the place. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand the point behind that. So in those moments when those things happen, sometimes I'll divert at that point, because it's like, it's very simple just to answer that question. What's the need of doing all this other? I don't know. And I don't know if maybe people are just trying to be humorous and I don't pick up on it. That could be a case. Who am I to say? The main reason, though, that I wanted to make this particular thing that I'm putting on here is because this group is centered around atheists and Christians. Now, the term atheism is pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, I don't have to go into that. When a person tells me that they are atheist, then I can conclude that they are an atheist. I don't have to ask them, well, what types of things causes you to be an atheist, or what types of things were you involved in that brought you to become an atheist? That's secondary. It really has no bearing on the fact that you are an atheist. When it comes to the term Christian, though, we run into a huge problem. And the reason being is because there is a vast amount of people that like to hang on to the term Christian. I don't quite understand it. Before I was a Christian, I never used the term. I didn't mention the name Jesus. I didn't say Christ. The only time I said God was if it had the word D-A-M-N behind it. I'm just being honest here. There was no desire for me. There was no want. There was no need for me to refer to myself as a Christian. It seems, though, that there are a lot of people that join this group that call themselves Christian that really do not even understand what being a Christian is. It seems pretty clear if you study what Jesus said a Christian is to be, then, it seems self-explanatory. But then again, a lot of people just are having a hard time grabbing a hold to that. Now, I'm not going to go into all the steps of what makes a Christian and all that type of thing, because then that will just lean into a bunch of other arguments. And like I said, I'm not making this as a video pointing out, specifics that would engage someone to want to argue with me. That's not my agenda, if you will. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I am trying to do is to let the atheist know. The atheist now, if you are an atheist and you're watching this video, I want to let you know. Now, you can disagree with Christianity all day long. I mean, that's your choice. I'm not arguing that. Okay, you can tell me that what I believe is wrong all day long. I'm not arguing that. All I am trying to tell you is this: every person that tells you that they are a Christian is not a Christian. Okay, it's not like the atheism thing. Now, every person that tells you that they are a theist, they may very well be a theist, but a theist and a Christian are two entirely different things. And the reason I want to bring this up is because it seems like day in and day out on this group, when I'm looking at posts and everything else, there is just so much, I don't know the term to use. I mean, it's just garbage from people that are claiming that they're Christians, that they're posting on there, that I'm here to tell you. Now, I know I'm just one person, and you don't have to believe anything that I tell you. That's fine. I'm hoping that through something that I say here, though, that it will make an impact. And what I mean by that is that you will not just look at what this person is saying and say, okay, well, that's how a Christian lives, or that's how a Christian thinks, or that's what a Christian sees, or that's what a Christian says, that type of thing, because there are many people out there that are causing a world of harm and using the term Christian to inflict that harm. Now, if anyone, even a person that wants to say Jesus was not real, even a person that wants to say it was just a myth, it was just something that men made up, all right, I'll just for your sake, I will use that argument for a second. Even if I wanted to say it was a myth, that it was just made up, a grand fairy tale, if you will, that some men invented along the way, even if I want to look at it like that, I can still take what they said, that this Jesus character represented, and say, wait a minute, if I'm basing what these people are claiming that they are followers of his words, of his code of conduct, if you will, if I'm looking at them and seeing what they're saying, what they're doing, and how they're living, and basing it towards that character, if it doesn't line up, then how could they possibly be that way? If I was to tell you, if I come up to you one day, you met me in the street, and I walked up to you and introduced myself and shook your hand, and then I started giving you this long run about how I knew everything there was to know about astrophysics. Well, let's say you didn't, but let's say you had stayed a little bit. And let's say as I went along telling you this long line of things, all of a sudden you started noticing, wait a minute, what he just said is not right. That's not what astrophysics is about. That's not what is included in astrophysics. All of a sudden, even if you didn't speak up immediately, you would start in your mind, you'd start putting these things together, and you'd be like, okay, this guy is just shooting me a line. All right? It's the same way with Christianity. A person can tell me all day long, oh, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Jesus made it clear, though, that you could tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. Now, I'm not going and start preaching here. All I'm saying is if you look at an apple tree, you're not going to find a banana growing on it. At least I've never seen one that does that. If you look at an orange tree, you're not going to find grapes hanging from it. You can tell a tree, vegetation, plant, whatever you'd like to call it, you could tell what's growing by what's on it. It's pretty easy for those that have any kind of common sense or, all right? Well, with a Christian, I'm here to tell you, and the reason I know this to be so, I'm not saying that you believe that being a Christian is right or even real or whatever. All I'm saying is, even, again, staying on the fairy tale theme, even if it's fairy tale, to be a Christian fairy taleist, if you will, to be someone like that, there are things, there's guidelines that that person in that has to follow, even if it's a myth. Okay, even if you want to treat it as a myth, there's still guidelines within that myth that person who's supposed to be following that myth has to be lining up with. And if they are not, then there's something wrong there. That myth, as atheists say, the Bible, as Christians say, tells us that we are being weighed in the balance. And what that means is, if you take two things and you put them in an old type scale, to get it even, it had to have the same amount of weight on each side. If not, one side would raise up, the other side would raise up. During that time, they used those balances, for exchange of goods, money, whatever it might have been. Well, it's the same thing with the Christian. If the Christian gets on one side of this scale or this balance, and then what Jesus said is put on this side, if the Christian is doing what the Word says, what Jesus said, then it's going to be balanced. If not, then it's going to be off kilter. And if it's off kilter, then you have problems. Okay? And I'm not going to make this long. I'm fixing to shut up. I just wanted to mention this because I see a lot of people from a lot of different places, whether they be from here in America, if they're from Africa, or if you're from England or Australia or South America, Philippines, wherever, Canada, it doesn't matter. The point is, you're here, you exist, and you're typing in the group and you're saying what you're saying, Well, Christians, I want to speak to you for 1 second. If you are going to go on that group, in this group, if you're going to come on here and you're going to put up a post supposedly representing Christ, then please, I urge you to study and make sure that what you are saying is what the Scripture says, and not just what you think it might say. Anybody can read a book and just say, well, I think it might say this, or I think it says that. There's a lot more to it than that. And I urge you to take the time and study if you're going to put up something about the Scriptures. If you're not going to put up the Scriptures, but just ask a question to atheists, do it with respect. Don't go on there saying, you atheists are a bunch of hateful, stupid, idiotic, blah, 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 blah people. I mean, what kind of conduct did Jesus ever do that? Please give me one example where Jesus did that. Now, Jesus is our example as Christians that we're supposed to be following. And if you're not doing that, then all you're doing is causing harm to yourself. You're going to enrage other people. It's going to turn into a brawl online that just gets out of hand. We see this constantly, and there's no need for it. Now, as for the atheist, any of you that's watching this little video, the only thing I have to say to you is, look, please, I'm asking you, please. I know a lot of times you'll say, well, I don't have to respect your belief. I respect you. Okay. Well, let me run with that for a second. If you truly respect me, even if you don't respect the belief, if you truly respect me, then you at least have the common courtesy to not call me all kinds of names, to tell me that I'm stupid, to tell me to go F myself, and all those types of things. I mean, how is that really being respectful to me? I understand you don't care anything about my belief. I understand that you don't want to partake in it. And that's your choice. I'm not forcing you to. I mean, that's left entirely up to you. Hey, you have your own life to live. I have my only life. I have my only life to live. I'm getting tongue-tied. Sorry. But, look, all I want is for people to try to act mature. Is that so much? Is it that hard to do? A lot of times we'll say, well, I've seen it in the group. Well, it's just hard to do when you got somebody saying this. No, it is not. I mean, look, if somebody's driving you that crazy, just leave the post. Ignore it. Block the person. Why is that such a thing? Just in the last couple of weeks, I've done relegated myself to ignoring several people in this group. It's not a personal thing against them. I don't know anything about the person other than what I see them on type of line. But it's clear from conversations that I've had with them that me and them are not going to be able to even see eye to eye to where we can just have a decent conversation. And with that being the case, there's no need for me to engage that person. There's no need for that person to engage me. Okay? Just because you're in a group with someone does not mean that you are bound to talk to that person. That is not a rule of the group. You can check the rules again that Chad put up if you need to. Okay, I'm done. It's 15 minutes, and that's too long. But I just felt like I needed to say this for whatever reason. And if you watch this, fine. If you don't, fine. But I don't know how you would know that if you didn't watch it. Alrighty. Later. Take care. And God bless.